Excellent. All right, so officially, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday. And so as I was just saying, before before we started, is that I've been really in the mode, right, of contemplating that line in yourself where there's your kind of conscious reality thinking that you can navigate with, right? Things that you think you can do, something you can do with your mind, you can move the furniture around. And then there's those parts of us that are just so ingrained or so innate or so emotionally big, right, energetically big, that they can overtake, right, that rational part of the mind. And this isn't always a bad thing. This is kind of the point, is that we often think that that is a negative experience, right? Is that we're out of control somehow, or that we're being, taken over by this part of ourselves that is irrational, or that doesn't make any sense, or that we have no ability to shove back into the corner, right? Because it's so big. And sometimes that is the case, right? Is that we get into a crazy place, or we start following a little bit of a weird thought strain that takes us somewhere that is far away from what's actually happening, right? Sometimes that is true. But at the same time, that moment where you allow that line to sort of disappear between your mind that you think you're in control of and the parts of you that are so deeply real that are beyond your mind, is that that's part of where we start to get to that feeling of real wholeness, right? Because those parts of you that are not in rational conscious control all the time are just as real, sometimes more real, than the part of you that you are sure is the one directing everything, right? So this is what we talk about in yoga, about dissolving the ego that thinks that it's always rational and in control and can, make situations what it wants it to be, instead of really feeling what's there, right? So the practice I've been working with is that there is this Buddhist thought, right, that whatever you are experiencing is that every one of us, every being, is born with an innate Buddha nature. Right? So it's not like you attain that, like you didn't have it before and you practice and you somehow get it. Is that you were born with it, right? That Buddha-ness is in you, that compassion is in you, that equanimity is in you. And we're just uncovering it over and over again, right? So the idea is that as you go through your experience with all of that craziness in your mind, potential craziness in your mind that isn't always controllable, is that that is not a negation of that Buddha self. Is you start to say, this is the Buddha experiencing that, right? The Buddha experiencing anger, the Buddha experiencing fear, the Buddha experiencing aggression, even the Buddha experiencing whatever is there that is innately coming forward into your experience, is that the Buddha is experiencing that, right? So we start to bring in that conscious awareness, or that conscious reality that says that no matter what I am caught in, even if I know I'm caught in it, that Buddha nature is still there. And if it's still there, I can always fall back to it. I can always come back to it. I never have to believe myself to be less because of what I'm experiencing, right? So this is our, real deep practice of getting beyond that part of the mind that thinks that it has to coordinate everything to be just the right way in order for us to be happy or at peace or to feel safe or whatever it thinks that it's doing, right? We get to drop into a place where everything can be okay no matter what's arising. So that's what we practice in our minds as we bring in that thought, right? When we're caught in something, the Buddha is experiencing this. It's not me, right? Crazy me experiencing this, wondering how to get out. It's Buddha experiencing it. And so there's nothing that you need to get out of, because at the end of that moment, it will go back into that state of equanimity, right? That's what we're practicing, is weaving ourselves in and out of that state that is always present. And the ego can't comprehend that, right? That it's always present. No matter what's going on, it's there. Right? So allowing ourselves to be really real with those emotional experiences is that you don't have to try and turn them into something else. Is you can let them be exactly as they are, as crazy as they are, as irrational as they are. And you are still that Buddha nature. Even in those moments you are. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let your eyes close. And just for a moment, breathe in with that. So you're breathing in, maybe using it even as a phrase, right? Buddha is breathing in. Buddha is breathing out. And whatever is present in you right now, whatever the labels are, you don't even have to label it. You just breathe in that this is the Buddha experiencing this. It's not limited you that has no control or has no idea what to do with it or that's being destroyed by it. It's Buddha. Endless equanimity. So there is nothing in this moment that will ever be bigger than that. Nothing that can truly overtake that or lessen that. And that's your true nature, is that Buddha self. So you are never less because of those feelings. You are never less because of those activities of the mind. So breathe that in, that you are that Buddha nature, and you are breathing in whatever is there. And you're breathing out whatever is there. And that practice of not pushing any piece of yourself away, no matter how irrational or strange or unappealing it might seem. That practice of deep self-acceptance is how we really do become real, whole. And it's not a comfortable feeling. But on the other side of that discomfort is said that there's an openness that is breathtaking. And that's what we're falling into. So one more deep breath. You are the Buddha. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Take a deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then find your way forward to hands and knees, please. And then just wiggle yourselves around a little bit. So if cat-cow feels good, do that. If wagging your tail feels good, do that. If hip circles feel good, do that. Spent 9 hours in the car yesterday, so you're getting the anti-car trip practice. Yeah, so just move yourself in whatever way feels like it needs your attention. So that's going to be different for every one of your backs and pelvises. Good. And then find yourself coming back to stillness, whatever that looks like. Good. Tuck the toes, please. Lift your hips. Come into downward facing dog, but do it in a way where you bend your knees and you actually curl into your lower back a little bit more. So drop your head, round into your back body. So round into your rib cage and bend your knees a lot. Yeah, I know. So I want your butt dropping and your rib cage rounding, almost like you're doing cat. Good. So round into your back ribs. Yeah, even more, Lauren. Round, round, round. Yep, round, round, round. Yep, so your armpits lift a little bit. Almost it's going to feel like you're hunching your shoulders. Keep your head dropped. Your head's not doing anything. Good. Just hang there for another moment, right? Pressing into the hands, knees bent, rounded ribs. Good. And then just lift the back of your throat a little bit so that you have the weight of the head gets a little bit of a relief. Good. And then start to just draw your hips back just a little bit more. Soften your heels towards the floor. Maybe the legs come to straight. Maybe they don't. But keep that feeling of wideness in your rib cage. Good. And then walk your feet forward towards your hands. Yep. Coming to the top of your mat. Beautiful. Head still dropped, please. Feet underneath your hips. So there should be a little space between your feet. And then bend your knees. Keep the head dropped. Take your belly onto your thighs. Wrap your arms around the backs of your legs. Give a hug. Good. Find your weight in your heels. Again, scooping the low belly just a little bit. Keep your head dropped. That's your big challenge, is to don't make this about your head. Good. And then start to lift your hips towards the sky, pressing into your heels. Keep your belly scooped. So as you straighten the legs any amount, again, the knees do not have to come to straight. Try to keep that feeling that you are just going to where there's a lovely amount of space and not to where you're pulling. Good. And then bend your knees again, please. Beautiful. Again, keep the head dropped. Straighten the legs again. Press into your heels, lifting up through your seat. Good. Widening the inner knees just a little bit, but again, not to where you feel that you're pulling. And then bend your knees one more time. Good. Press into the heels. Again, dropping the head. Start to straighten the legs, pressing up through your hips. Yeah, legs do not have to come to straight. That's the big thing, right? Beautiful. Good. And then release your hands, please. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, toes facing straight ahead still, so feet still parallel. Good. Bend your knees again. Drop your hips back so your thighs come more parallel to the floor. Again, watch that your knees are pointing towards the second or third toe of each foot. So you're widening the inner knees. Good. Hugging your shins. Nice. And then stretch your arms up alongside your ears. So you drop your hips, shoulders in line with your hips. So torso parallels the floor. So Sarah, you're a little too low. It looks like, so lift your butt. Yep, there you go. Good. Parallel to the floor. Nice. Back of your throat lifts here. Good. Stretch out through the arms. Wide knees, wide sit bones. Nice, Beth. Good, Diane. Good, you guys. One more deep breath. And then as you exhale, round your back here. So you're still parallel to the floor, but round your back. Pull in. Yep. Nice, Ralph. Good, Juliet. Nice, Mark. Excellent. And then release the hands to the floor. Take the legs any amount towards straight again. Beautiful. I know, now you're awake. Take your right hand to the floor in front of you. Take your left hand to your lower back, please. So right hand touches down, left hand to your lower back, pressing into your sacrum. Good. Press your sacrum up into your hand. Press down through those right fingertips. Good. And then start to turn your belly open to the left. So you're coming into the twist. Widen that right inner thigh. Good. You got it. Keep your head just in line with your spine. So don't do a lot of craning your neck, right? Keep it in line with your spine. Only turn it as much as your chest is turned. Try that. Good. Press that sacrum up into your hand. One more breath. Navel in. Lift that shoulder a little higher. Yeah. And then release, please, and switch to the other side. Left hand comes down. Right hand comes up to your lower back. Hand pressing, palm facing the sacrum. Good. Press your sacrum up into your hand. Pull up through your low ribs. And then start to twist to the right. Good. Dana, don't let that right hip slide forward. Pull it back. There you go. Exactly. Good. You guys, left inner thigh goes wide. Press into your left fingertips. You're not dropping into that hand. You're pushing into that hand. Good. And head is in line with your spine, with your chest. You're looking in the direction of your chest. Nice, Rhonda. Good. I know. One more breath, lifting through the sacrum, wide inner thighs. Good. Release that hand down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Plant your hands. Walk your feet back to downward facing dog. It's like a whole new pose, right? Good. And then slide forward to plank pose, please. Upward push up, armpits over your wrists. Beautiful. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need, all the way down to your belly. Forehead faces the floor. Take your hands back behind your head, elbows wide. Good. Keep your feet pressing down. Lift your elbows up away from the floor. So hands are behind the head. Hands behind the head, elbows wide. There you go. So you're lifting those elbows up. Good. And then you're feeling that openness through the armpits, pressing down through the feet. Draw your low rib cage up off the floor and then lift head, neck, and chest. Keep your gaze down at the floor. So again, don't make this about your head, make it about your back, right? Try and pull that low rib cage in and up and root those feet, root those shins. If your butt is squeezing like crazy here, try and squeeze your shins and let that squeeze of your butt go a little bit. Good. It's much more about getting into those low back muscles, mid and low back muscles. Beautiful. Release the head back to the floor, please. Nice. Stretch your arms straight forward alongside your ears. Good. Give the arms as much space as they need. You're going to lift your right leg and your left arm at the same time. So right leg, left arm, breathe and lift up. And then exhale, release. And then do the opposite, right hand, left leg. Breathe up and release. And then keep alternating, inhaling, opposite leg, opposite arm. And try and coordinate that the arm and the leg are moving at the same time. So it's not one and then the other. And that you're trying to get them to be the same height as each other. So I'll give you a clue. Every single one of you, your leg is higher than your arm. So you have to work a little bit more consciously to lift through the upper body and let the lower body coordinate with that. Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So there should be a lift of the chest when you do this, right? You're not just lifting the arm. It's like you're doing like a cross locust pose, right? So it's a whole side body reach. Good. Keep going. Yeah, this is also kind of fun because it gives you the mental exercise of trying to figure out where your arm and your leg is in space. And I already gave you the clue that you have no idea where your arm and leg are in space. And this is the thing, right? Our conscious thought that we know where we are in reality is skewed to begin with. This is what we are brought to understand, is that we think we know where we are and we really have no idea. So what really informs us is those deeper, innate, sometimes emotional places that say this is what needs to be included in your perspective of what's happening right now, of what's real right now. Good. Take one more breath, lift everything, both legs, both arms. Again, like you're trying to pull your low rib cage away from the floor. So you're already lifted in that back bend, and now try and turtle into your middle ribs. Pull those low ribs in and up. I know. Good. And then release, please. Nice job. Press up to hands and knees and go back to child's pose. I know, if you can manage that. If you have enough left in you to get back to child's pose. Good. Breathe wide into your back. Breathe and breathe and breathe. So I used to get much more, upset when things went wrong. Plans didn't go the way that I wanted them to. Mostly because I think I grew up with just a parent that made every mistake feel like it was a personal flaw that you had, right? If you made a mistake, it was a flaw in you. So part of this trip was very interesting to watch myself as so many things did not go the way that we wanted to. I got in a fight with Google Maps trying to, reroute ourselves around traffic, because I was sure that the way that I wanted to go through this trip was not the way that it wanted me to go. Walk your torso to the right, please. And I do think I was correct. I don't think I was being obstinate. But the interesting thing about that fight, right, is Google Maps is like, no, this way is definitely going to be faster. It's definitely going to be shorter, but it's going to be more aggravating. So what do you want? Do you want what's fast and short, or do you want what's peaceful? Come back to center, walk to your left. So this is like that place in our mind, right? Is that there's the control of, I can do it this way, and it's so logical and it's so put together and it makes so much sense. And why would you complain about that? And then there's the other parts of us that says, but this is the way that I need to go through this. This is the way that lets me go through it in a peaceful sense, or that makes me feel that all of me is included and I'm not shoving anything to the side just because it's faster. So watching those places in your mind where that ego self slides in and says, cut off that emotion, cut off that idea, cut off that thought process. Come back to center, please. Right? To allow that to be felt completely, while at the same time knowing that there is that Buddha nature, right? There is the self that will rise above whatever is not truly our own, or that's not truly a part of us. But if we don't ever allow it, we stay stuck in that divide. Walk yourself back up onto hands and knees. Good. Stretch your right arm out wide to the right. And slide that arm behind your left wrist, threading the needle. Right shoulder finds its way to the floor. Left arm walks forward in front of you. And here too, again, there's a tendency to drop all of your weight onto that right shoulder. So instead of dropping your weight there, try and lift up through your ribs, get more into that low place of your belly, and take this as a twist, right? That this is the same as what you would be doing in a prayer twist. So maybe press into those left fingertips a little bit more. Good. And really find that feeling of drawing your right rib cage under so that your left rib cage can rotate open. Good. That's nice. And just keep that right low belly lifted and wide. So you have to resist the twist through your pelvis, right? Good, Heidi. Nice, Anju. Good, Laura. Nice, Allison. Awesome, you guys. One more breath, breathing deep into the back of your rib cage. Good. And then slowly bring yourself all the way back out, please. Nice. And then we'll switch to the other side. Take your left arm nice and wide. Then slide that arm behind the right wrist. Shoulder finds the floor. Walk the right arm forward above the head any amount. Again, it does not have to be a straight arm, because sometimes a straight arm takes us completely away from our shoulder. So bend the elbow maybe a little bit so that you can feel more of how your shoulder is moving, how your rib cage is moving. Good. Right, we're really talking side body length here, and sometimes the straight arm makes us think that we're getting more side body length, but all you're really getting is more arm stretch. You're not getting armpit stretch. Maybe not getting side rib stretch, side hip stretch. Good. Keep that left low belly lifted and wide. Yeah. This is one of those poses that if you feel like it's too much of a vacation, is get more into your back. Good. And then slowly unwind yourself. Come back up onto hands and knees. Nice. And then find your way back to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Good. And then walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat again, bringing the feet underneath the hips. Nice little jump there, Rachel. I like that. Good. Feet underneath the hips, bend your knees a lot. Fingertips stay on the floor. So you're setting yourself up for chair. So your hips are moving back behind your heels, knees in line with your ankles as best you can. With your fingertips on the floor, again, curl into your low belly. So you drop your hips, but you start to lift through that low back. Good. And then start to take the arms up alongside your ears without pushing the ribs forward. So you lift your shoulders, lift your chest, but don't let the ribs pop forward. Good. Arms in line with your shoulders, shoulders in line with your hips. Nice. Good, good, good. Nice, Beth. Drop your hips a little lower. Nice, Rhonda. Nice, Mia. Throat up, Elisa. Good. Watch those knees, Marlene. They don't go too wide. Good. Come all the way up to stand. Really good, you guys. Beautiful. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand and then lean to your right. Good. As you do that, keep your inner thighs pressing wide. So you're bringing your weight into that right foot and then slide your left leg out and wide to the left. Yep. So you're just pressing it straight wide, foot flexed off the floor. Yep. Keep your hips in line with each other. So don't let that left hip swing backwards. You actually have to swing it slightly forwards. Good. And you're still pulling through the side body. Good. And then bring yourself all the way back up to center, please. Nice. Place both feet on the floor. Switch the hold of your wrists. So left hand holds right wrist. Lean to your left. And again, if you're just pulling on the arm here, you might not feel very much through your side body. So you got to really press down, right, through that armpit so that you get into the side waist. And then pressing into your left foot here, slide your right leg out wide to the right. Good. So you're pulling through that heel and then leaning still to the left. Good. So again, trying to get that full stretch on that left side. Sorry, right side. Good. Don't let your legs swing back behind you. Turn your pelvic bones forward. You got it. I know it's not as much fun with a parallel pelvis. Come all the way back up, please. Really good. Release the hands. Hug your right knee up in towards your chest. Wow. I know. Right knee up. Squeeze. Good. Take the right thigh over top of your left, wrapping the inner thigh, the outer shin for eagle pose. So Ralph, just switch your legs. Right knee up. Or no, Dana, switch your legs. Sorry. Good. Right thigh over top of left. Sorry, Ralph, you were right. Bend that left knee, please. Arms out wide. Take the left arm over top of the right, wrapping the arms as well. Garudasana. Good. And then bring your elbows forward towards your knees, round your back a lot. So pull your belly back and in. So you're not just leaning forward and popping your ribs forward to do that. Is you got to curl. You got to round like a cat. Good. So again, this is getting into that lower spine, middle spine. Good. And now still in that curl, draw your armpits back and wide. Yep. Good. And then keep your butt dropped this low, but start to lift your chest again, coming back up towards vertical. Keep your butt low and keep your ribs in. Beautiful. And then unwind yourself. Inhale the arms to the sky. Excellent. Take a deep breath because you weren't breathing during that. Good. And then second side, please, as you're ready. Left knee comes up and towards your chest. What's very funny about this is that you're doing this practice. I need to do this practice. Vicariously. Take your left thigh over top of your right. Good. Bend that right knee, please. So you're dropping down into eagle, arms out wide. Right arm comes over top of left, wrapping the forearms. And I like this sensation that, right, we can drop down through the pelvis, but we're still rising up through the spine. Good. So even when we have that downward energy of the mind, right, that feels like it's pulling us somewhere, is we still have this energy that's always rising. So it's being able to feel both of those things that you can experience so much more than what that small director part of your mind wants to incorporate. Bring your elbows forward towards your knees, round your back a lot. So again, you're pulling back through the ribs, pulling back through the belly, drop your seat even deeper. Good. I want you to feel it in the lower spine, middle spine. Good. And then keep that connection. Hips stay nice and low. Start to lift your shoulders back up without popping your ribs forward. So keep drawing the ribs in and back. So you're going to keep that feeling of challenging that tightness in your middle spine. Good. Really good. And then unwind yourself, arms to the sky, deep breath in. Beautiful. And then exhale, hands down to the floor. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Nice, you guys. Bring your hands up to the front of your shins. Inhale, lift your spine. So drawing the low belly in, take your hips higher towards the sky as you extend through the crown of your head. Good. And then exhale, bow deeply again. And then you're going to do that same motion, but this time, instead of looking forward so much, you're going to keep your head in line with your spine. So inhale, lift up. Keep your head dropped just a little bit so that you're not looking forward. Your chin is not tilted forward. You're looking straight down, straight line of your neck. Good. And then exhale, bow deeply again, keeping your hips lifted. Good. One more time. Lift up, extend through the legs, press through your heels. Like this is a standing Paschimottanasana, right? So lift your hips towards the sky. Good. And extend, crown of the head forward. Yeah. And then bow deeply again, dropping the head. Nice, you guys. Step your right leg back behind you just enough so that both legs can come to straight. Parsvottanasana. Move your feet a little wider, right and left if you need to. Blocks underneath the hands are great. Good. Again, maybe for a breath or two, round into your lower back. So as you round, you put your weight a little bit more in your heels. Mark, move your blocks back so that your back heel can find the floor. There you go. Good. As you round your back, you get more into your legs. Releases some of that confusion in the body that says, well, where do you want the stretch to be? Do you want it to be in your legs or in your back? Because it can't be in both, right? So you choose, right? Today, this moment, I'm focusing on the stretch here. Today, this moment, I'm allowing myself to feel this. Today, this moment, I am the Buddha experiencing whatever my day has in store, whatever my life has in store. But it means that I'm able to do it at 100%. I'm not starting out already thinking that I'm nothing. I'm starting out believing truly that I have everything, literally everything that I could need. I have it. It may not appear the way that I think that it's going to, but I have it. Good. Start to walk yourself, your hands to the left, please. Turning your feet just a little bit. So you're turning your feet with you towards the left. And again, you'll know at what point it's time to stop. You're turning both feet. So as you turn, you're going to get a little bit more stretch through that outer edge of your left thigh and hip. And again, your body will tell you when you've gone far enough. So you're walking your hands to the left, Marlene. Yep. And turning your feet just a little bit, both feet. Good. Just that little bit of a turn gives you a little bit more stretch. So keep your hips nice and lifted. If the knees are buckling, right? Don't go so far. Good. Keep your inner thighs wide. Beautiful. And then walk yourself all the way back towards the top of your mat, turning your toes back forward. Good. Bend that left knee, please. Walk your fingertips straight ahead and step up to standing split. Right leg comes parallel to the floor. Good. Bend your standing knee, please. As that knee bends, so the other knee, Mark, the one that you're standing on. Nope. Keep the legs the way they were. Oh, bend. Yep. There you go. Good. So that standing knee goes a little bit wide and you're scooping into your low belly and then pressing through that heel, lift your hips higher, drop your head again, drop your heart. Good. Really nice. Beautiful, you guys. Then step yourself way back, nice long lunge. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. Good. Take the arms out wide, letter T. Right arm comes over top of left in front of your chest. Garudasana, arms in your high lunge. Good. Right arm over left. Good. So you're drawing those armpits back and wide. Let your front knee stay over the front ankle and then lift your elbows just a little bit higher up towards the sky and draw those armpits back at the same time. Yep. Beautiful. Good. And then release the hands, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Big breath in, chest open, lean back any amount, baby back bend or giant back bend. Good. And then all the way back up to center, please. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk to your right until you come to the center of your mat. Prasarita Padottanasana. Turn your toes. Good. Again, breathe deeply. Wide legs facing the side of your mat. So Beth, walk to your right. There you go. Wide legs. Excellent, you guys. And hang for a moment. Maybe hold your feet, maybe hold your elbows. If your head touches the floor, let your head touch the floor. Good. Yeah, if you want your head to touch the floor and it doesn't, stack up your blocks until it does. Right, 90% of our practice, maybe 99% of our practice is what we are letting go of, what we are learning to accept rather than push away. And so how hard is it for you to accept that in your worst moments, not your best ones, but in your worst ones, you say, this is the Buddha experiencing this. It's not dumb old me, it's Buddha. That is part of me too, that is me too. You bring it into every thought, especially the ones that feel like they take you far away from that piece of yourself or from what you imagine that part of yourself to be. That when we really understand there is nothing that can take us away from that because it is what you are, then we start to get all of those teachings, the I am. We start to get those teachings that say that you are whole and complete no matter what. We start to get it. We start to get it when we can feel it, not just think it. But start with the thought and let it become a real feeling. Walk yourself back to the top of your mat, left toes forward. Spin that right heel up, step back, downward facing dog. And then vinyasa if you choose, or take a child's pose if that feels like the better option. The vinyasa is sliding forward to plank, lowering down to your belly or chaturanga, rising up cobra or upward facing dog, making conscious choices. Nice. And then finding your way back to downward facing dog. Again, breathing with your movements, not just moving and then breathing. Good. And then right foot steps forward between the hands, please. Left foot steps forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana, second side. Again, using blocks if you need, so it's both legs straight, feet facing straight ahead. Give your hips room, right and left. So if you feel like you have to balance in a very precarious way here, step your feet wider, right and left. Good, nice, Anna. Anna, lift that right low belly just a little bit more. Curl into your low back here, you guys. So again, you're bringing more attention into your heels. Good, decompressing the lower spine. Nice. See, the breathing is very important. My husband is a much wilder driver than I am. So while he was driving, I found myself doing a lot of not breathing because, you know, my mind was trying to drive for him. We were in one of those cars that, you know, it now has the sensors that like tell you when you're getting too close to things. So every time it beeped, I'm like grabbing onto things, you know, again, thinking I need to write a letter to my daughter. Right? I'm joking. He's actually a very good driver. He's just much more risk-taking than I am. Walk yourself to the right, please, turning the toes. Right, so we catch ourselves, right? Because that's that same moment where, again, my brain thought it was in control of something that it completely wasn't. And so stopping my own breath because of what he's doing. Part of what we do, right? Brain wants to be in control and it will stop its own processing because someone else is doing a thing. So can you keep your breath steady? Can you catch yourself when you are wandering away and then add in that thought, Buddha got distracted. Buddha got scared. Buddha wants to be in control. And Buddha lets go of control, right? You can just complete that thought. Good, one more breath, feeling what you feel. Lift through that right hip. Good, and then walk yourself back towards the top of your mat, turning the feet forward again. Bend that right knee, walk your fingertips straight ahead, step up, standing split, left leg up. Good, and then hands still touching something, great idea. Bend your standing knee, so your right knee bends, so you can bring your weight onto your heel a little bit more, move your hips slightly back in space. So again, you're recentering, there you go. And then scoop your belly a little bit and start to press your hips up towards the sky with that scooped belly. Good, keep that right knee going just a little bit wide. Excellent, dropping the head. Yeah. Your head lifted does not make the split easier. Good. Step all the way back. Nice long lunge. Inhale, both arms to the sky, high lunge. Again, we're making conscious choices about paying attention to the lower back more than the upper back at these moments. Good. Take your arms out wide. Left arm crosses over top of right in front of you. So eagle arms. Pressing the forearms together, drawing your armpits back, chest up. Good. And front knee over the front ankle. So let your pelvis drop low and then feel that rising lift of your chest. Good. Nice, Rhonda. Good, Mia. Nice, Laura. Excellent, Heidi. Nice, Beth. Nice, Allison. Good, you guys. Release the arms, please. Stretch your arms up alongside your ears. Take any amount of a back bend that you'd like, getting longer. So again, the hips stay nice and rooted, but the chest lifts, the side body opens. Good, Anju. And then come all the way back up. Release the hands down to the floor. Good. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk to your left. Come to the center of your mat. Again, wide legs. Find your breath. Yeah. So those two subconscious things, right? When you're in those moments of wanting to be in control and you know that you aren't, as your breath stops and your butt clenches. I found myself constantly, whole car ride. Oh, don't forget to breathe, relax your butt. Take a breath, relax your butt. Sounds like a yoga practice, right? Don't forget to breathe, relax your butt. Right? Here too, widen those inner thighs. Good. Hang for a moment if you are still gripping onto something, just hang. Good. Falling into self-acceptance. We simply just start to place aside the voice that insists that it has to be this other way. You say, Buddha's experiencing this, can't argue with Buddha. Good. Walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Right toes turn forward, spin the left heel up and step back, downward facing dog. Nice. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Lower down slow, all the way down to your belly. Rise up, cobra, pressing into the hands, dragging the heart forward. Again, keep your head in line with your spine. So if you are automatically lifting your chin to look up, drop your chin level to the floor and find that openness through your neck. So you're reaching back through your ears, maybe lifting up through your crown. Good. I know it's so tempting to just throw your head back and hope. And then release the chest back down to the floor. Nice job. Press up to hands and knees and take a child's pose. Child's pose. Admitting to yourself that you were innately created with that Buddha nature, as that Buddha nature. And you can insert whatever other phraseology makes sense to you there. If you're like, I don't even know what that means, Buddha nature. Whatever your innate goodness is, your innate sense of peace, your innate sense of wholeness. If you've never felt that about yourself, you're not alone. That's why we practice self-acceptance. It's why we practice what we do, so that we can have an awareness of what that feeling is, because we do all have it somewhere. Maybe it's buried a lot. Maybe our mind doesn't know how to recognize it because it's so used to throwing it away and saying, that doesn't belong to me. That's not me. So we introduce this concept, right? That underneath whatever it is you think your craziness is, there is that state that we call the Buddha nature. You have it, you are it. So start affirming it, right? Having an angry day, Buddha's experiencing anger. Did something you wish you hadn't done, Buddha's experiencing regret. Take one more breath. Full acceptance of this moment, whatever it is and whatever it isn't. And walk yourself all the way back up, please. Good. Take your legs straight out in front of you. Come to sit on your butt, legs out in front of you. Oh. I know, legs straight out. Good, right leg stays in front of you. Bend your left knee. Place the bottom of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh and let that knee drop open wide. Janu Shirshasana. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist to your right, please. You're moving your belly again towards that extended leg and then bow forward. You got it. It's very interesting when you go to weddings for, people who are over 30, and I think it's very different than when you go to weddings for people who are very young. The wedding that we went to, they're very quirky. We know a lot of quirky people. But it was great that it was a wedding that, had some of the traditional elements, but done completely in the way that is them, So it was really fun to see it being represented as really just who they were. But it made me think for a moment, right? And it's not like it's the first time I've had this thought, but can you think of a time in your life, a day in your life when you were 100% honest about who you were? And I had to struggle and think, I'm not sure that I have. Not sure I've ever done it. So it's just a thing to notice, right? How much we hold ourselves in. Even if we're sure we like who we are we ever 100% really honest about it? Maybe not. Come all the way back up. Take your left hand back behind you, please, behind your left hip. You're gonna lift up onto your left shin, pressing into the left hand, lift your butt up off the floor, right foot stays reaching for the floor, stretch that right arm up and over the ear so you're coming into a little back bend. Good, so you should be able to just shift your way onto that left shin, open the pelvis towards the sky. So it's a little bit more of a back bend. There you go. Nice, you guys, open heart, long side body. Nice, Emily, good, Lena. Nice, and then release, please, taking your seat back down to the floor. Come into a spinal twist, so just turn so that your left hand reaches for that outer right leg, right hand comes back behind you. Good, so you're twisting to your right. Beautiful, nice, Heidi. Good, lean slightly forward onto the front edge of your sit bones. There you go. And then maybe keep leaning forward, so you slide that left hand towards the outside of your right ankle. So it's like you're doing that forward fold again, but now in a twist. Keep sending your butt back. Good. Shoulders nice and wide. So you're lifting that right shoulder open. And then you can take that right hand, keep it at your low back if you'd like, or stretch the arm over the ear, or take it up to the sky. Whatever feels like it gives your shoulder the most ability to breathe. Good. And you're still leaning forward as you twist. That's it. Nice, Beth. Good, Diane. Nice, Marlene. Good, Anne. Excellent, you guys. Good, Anna. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Unwind your twist first, and then start to bring yourself all the way back up. Good. And then bend that right knee as well, please. Bring the bottoms of your feet together, Baddha Konasana. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Curl your toes back, press your baby toes down into the floor so your legs have a little activity in them. And then start to lean forward again, sending your sit bones back as you lean forward between the knees, Baddha Konasana. Good. Nice. And then when you've come as far forward as you reasonably can, reaching through your armpits, let your hands touch down to the floor, wherever they land. Let your head drop. Surrender the idea that you were ever in control of this life, or you were ever in control of exactly who you were going to be, who you were supposed to be. Maybe practice that self-acceptance that whatever rises through you, there is a need to be felt, a need to be recognized, a need to see it, feel it, know it. Doesn't mean that every emotion defines you. But the experience of that deep emotional self cannot be excluded. if we're going to be whole, if we're going to realize our wholeness, put it that way. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Good. Stretch your legs out wide for a moment. So just from your Baddha Konasana, stretch your legs out straight. Doesn't have to be your widest straddle that you've ever done. Just stretch your legs out. Good. And then walk yourself forward. Again, don't make a big deal out of it. Just keep your feet awake. Press your heels down, walk forward. And don't judge it, right? Maybe your first non-judgmental forward fold of your life. Good. Just don't forget to breathe and relax your butt. Nice. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Take the legs back in front of you. Left leg stays straight. This time bend your right knee, bottom of the foot to the inside of the left thigh. Let your knee go wide. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist of your belly towards that left leg, and then bow forward. So it's like you're squaring the ribs over that thigh, and then a straight forward fold. Good. So interesting that it is considered one of those complicated, not complicated, but challenging practices to also be aware of the aspect of surrender that is, we are really not in control of how this life goes and when it's finished, right? So before class, I was telling you how crazy my brain was getting leaving my daughter for the first time, and how I was, coming up with all the letters I should write her just in case I die on the trip, right? This is what we're asked to do, right? Is to look at that edge of your mind that says, when you feel like you're going to be completely out of control, what are all the things that you didn't finish, didn't say, right? All the things that you've been holding back. And why are you doing it? Right? We can have that full openness, acceptance, so that even in that moment of like, oh, okay, this life is finished, no regrets. Nothing is left undone. Nothing is left unsaid. That's that openness that we're, asked to fall into. That's beyond that part of the mind that says, I'm in control. Good, you guys. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Take your right hand back behind you, behind your hip. And then you're going to press up onto that right shin, lift your butt up off the floor, take that left arm up over the ear. So the left leg stays straight. And if your foot can come flat to the floor, let it. Good. And then reaching long through the side body, really press the pelvis up away from the floor, open chest. Really nice, Juliet. Good. Awesome, you guys. Find your way back to your seat, please. And then bring yourself into a spinal twist. Right hand comes to your outer left thigh. Left hand comes back behind you. And coming out of that position, there's going to be a tendency to be leaning back on the back of your pelvic bone. So lean forward again. Scoot your sit bones back. Good. And then maybe stay upright in the twist, or start to walk that right hand forward towards your outer left ankle. So you're coming into more of a twisting forward fold. Left hand can come to your lower back or stay on the floor. Remember, the twist is coming from your rib cage, so you have to turn that left shoulder open. Good. And then watch that you're not craning your head way further than your shoulders can go. Good. And then that arm, if you want to, can come over the ear or up to the sky if that feels like it's an open place. Might feel better to keep it at the low spine or behind the head. Good. I like to see you try like every position and then like cycle through them 6 times. So you never settle and then we're out of the pose. It's okay. Good. And then slowly find your way back out of the twist first. So back into the forward fold, and then slowly walk yourself up out of that. Nice job. And then bend both knees, please. Bottoms of the feet together. Baddha Konasana. Good. And again, let's not make a big deal out of it. Just forward fold. However you'd like. My suggestion is keep your feet awake and relax your butt. Good. So it can be hands holding your feet. It can be arms forward. Contemplating that allowance of the full acceptance of yourself. And all the pieces of you, the things that you never said, you never did. Maybe wondering, are you ever going to do it? Are you ever going to be just unapologetically who you are? Who knows? You are the only one who can be aware of that. No one else knows. Only you know. So we just practice that acceptance, and then who we are rises stronger and stronger and stronger, harder to escape. And when there is no separation between who we think we should be and who we actually are, we call that being awake, right? That's what Buddha means, the one who's awake. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. Stretch your legs wide again. It does not have to be your widest straddle, but stretch them out. Good. And then again, just walk yourself forward, forward fold, pressing down through the heels. Again, keep your feet awake. Good. So that doesn't mean that you have to flex your feet aggressively, but keep your heels drawn down so that you have an awareness of the backs of your knees. Nice. Give Daniel feet a little bit more, either flexed or pointed. Good. Good, you guys. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Okay. So bend the knees, please, coming into your last big pose, I guess you want to call it that. Fire log. You're going to bend your knees. You're stacking. So you're bringing your left shin in front of you. You're stacking your right shin on top of your left. So ankle to knee, if that's available. If it's not, you can widen the knees so that your heel is into the knee crease. Or you can sit with your right shin in front of your left, feet flexed. Good. Use as many props as you need, but you're stacking your right shin on top of your left if that's possible. Feet flexed. And then again, maybe you're just staying here upright, or you can start to forward fold if that's available. Letting the hips breathe, or breathing deeply into the hips, I should say. Good. This is my go-to after long car rides. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Some of you. Why would you do it? I know. Maybe for you, pigeon would have made more sense, but just breathe where you are. And don't judge where you are. Whatever is rising in you, it's the Buddha experiencing that frustration, or that irritation, or that judgment, or that sadness, or that whatever is there. It's Buddha's achy hips, not yours. Good. Take one more breath. And then slowly walk yourself back up, please. Nice. Unwinding the legs, draw that right knee wide to the right as you release it. And then let the legs stretch out for a moment. Give them a little bit of a shake. Good. Then we'll come to the second side. You got two sides, two legs. So the left shin stacks on top of the right. Again, whatever variation is working for you. And if stacking the shins does not work, then left shin in front of right with the feet flexed is perfect. Good. And if you're like, screw this pose, you know, you want to do pigeon on your back, I'm not going to stop you. But either sitting upright or take the forward fold if it's available. I think there's an important place where, you know, in our yoga practice, there has to be that moment where if the pose is just not, attempting a pose is just not going to bring you anywhere peaceful, it's just going to be irritating, do a different pose, right? There's more than one way to stretch your outer hips, your outer thighs. And so if this pose is only going to bring you to a state of unhappiness, no matter how you do it, Do a different pose. And your practice is not to come here and do what I say, although I'll tell you, of course it is, do what I say. But it's suggestions, right? As we go to the teacher to have suggestions of what we might not choose for ourselves because it's difficult or because it's pushing us or because there's something there that is not our favorite. But your yoga practice is not about obedience. Your yoga practice is about awareness. It's knowing who you are and knowing what brings you into that state of peace and what doesn't. If that means that you are not following the exact instructions of your teacher or Google Maps, then you do what you have to do, right? So you watch what is arising and you affirm that I am everything that I need to be to move through this peacefully, and whatever else is there, it does not take me away from that, doesn't have to. That equanimity is still here. Buddha nature is still here. And every time you catch yourself trying to tell yourself that that's not true, can't be true. Buddha experiencing doubt. Good, take one more breath. And then slowly start to walk yourself all the way back up. Nice. And unwind the legs, please, stretching them out in front of you. Give them a little shake. Excellent. Good. And then you're going to find your way onto your backs. Good. If you are in the room, I would love it if you would turn around so that your feet face the wall. And as you come onto your backs, you're going to lift your, I want you to set yourself up so that your feet are flat on the wall with your shins parallel to the floor. So you're making a 90-degree angle with your legs. So it's not legs up the wall, it's feet on the wall, shins parallel to the floor. Good. If you have a wall at home and you want to do that, you are welcome to. But if not, then just come onto your back, bend your knees, take your right ankle on top of your left. Good, and lift that left shin parallel to the floor. If you have your feet on the wall, cross your right ankle over top of your left. Press that left foot into the wall and work that lower back down towards the floor. You got it, Lauren, just cross your right ankle. Yep. The idea is that you're doing that same position. So Ralph, ankle over knee. There you go. So it's that same figure 4 position, but with your foot on the wall is you now have a reference for your lower back finding the floor or not finding the floor, right? Good. So try and keep your ankle, your right ankle, in a nice neutral line so the foot is not turning in or out. Good. And again, if you're at home, you're just doing figure 4 and wondering why we couldn't have just done this instead of fire log. Because it doesn't get as much into your glutes. That's why. Method to my madness. Don't worry. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath. Notice if you have equal weight on both sides of your sacrum. The answer is no, but notice it. And try and bring a little bit more equal weight. So maybe a little bit more attention on that left side of the sacrum. Good. And then slide that right knee all the way on top of your left, please. Good. Separate your feet. If your feet were on the wall, then just take that left foot off of the wall, please. Draw your knees in towards your chest with your feet wide. Gomukhasana legs. Good. So again, thigh over thigh, Ralph, if you can. Can you stack the knees, Ralph? Yeah, there you go. Good. Nice. So Beth, separate your feet wider instead of eagle legs, Gomukhasana. There you go. I know it sounds a lot like Garudasana, 2 different things. One is eagle, the other is cow face, so not at all related. Good. Unwind your legs, please. Bring your feet back to the wall if they were there. Left ankle over right thigh. If you don't have a wall, left ankle over right thigh. Right shin parallels the floor. Again, finding where the shoulders can remain relaxed, where you are pressing that right foot into the wall and letting your low back find its way all the way down to the floor. So it's less about where that left knee goes. It's not about opening the left knee so much. It's more about finding the tilt of your pelvis. So having the groin soften, having the lowest part of your sacrum finding the floor. Good. So it's more about your back, less about just your hips. Good. And again, trying to balance the weight on your sacrum. So the right side is going to have a tendency to roll up in this position. So you want to put a little bit more weight on the right side, bringing your right butt cheek down towards the floor. Good. Maybe an interesting exercise in your mind is to go write yourself a letter about all the things that you wish that you had said, wish that you had done, that you still want to say, that you still want to be. Don't hold it in. Good, you guys. Start to slide that left knee all the way over your right. So you're stacking the knees. Take your foot off the wall if it's on the wall. And then let the feet go just a little bit wider. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Reach for your ankles or your shins. Gomukhasana. Good. Again, trying to find as much of your lower back on the floor as you can. So one of the great benefits of this pose, right, is that we're flexing through or curling through the pelvis. So you want your tailbone, base of your sacrum, rooting down. Thigh crease is nice and deep. Lucky you, Heidi, get those random little adjustments. Nice, everybody. And then slowly release, please, unwinding the feet, hug your knees in towards your chest. Yep. Then happy baby, because how could you not do it? Knees wide, reach for the ankles or the feet. Good. Remembering that your knees are the widest part of the pose, so there's a little drawing in of the heels and the shins. Good. And then draw the knees back together. Please bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Squeeze into a little ball hug. Good. And then slowly release, please. Nice. So most of you will, if you've been using the walls, you're going to have to scoot yourself back on your mat so that you can stretch your legs all the way out. Good. And as you begin to settle for your Shavasana, make sure you have whatever props you like. There you go. And feel yourself doing a little bit more of that conscious 3-part breath, where as you're breathing, you notice the rise of your belly. You notice the expansion of your ribs, right and left. You notice the subtle lift at the top of your chest, your sternum. And the exhale, you notice how everything softens as you empty. As you inhale again, you let your attention go through the belly, through the ribs, through the upper chest. And exhale, you keep your attention on that experience of emptying, of things ebbing away. Surrender. Then the inhale comes again, and it's by your invitation, right? It's coming anyway, but your acceptance makes it bigger. Belly, ribs, chest. And then exhale, the emptying, it's happening anyway, but your acceptance makes it bigger, makes it fuller. And then that's all you do, is you just keep breathing through the whole self, practicing acceptance, practicing surrender. They're one and the same. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it best. As you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. As you bring your hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. Interesting question. Where are you when you aren't anywhere? Yeah. Where are you if you're not defining the emotion that you're in or the experience that you're having as this or that? Is where are you? Right? The answer the Buddhists say, the yogis say, is that we're always just where we are. Right? Is that state of Buddha or that state of awakeness, that state of awareness, is that it's always what we drop into when everything else drops away. Our challenge is that we are so invested in, so challenged by, or so interested in all the things that are happening that we forget that Buddha nature is the basis of what we are, the nature of what we are. So we think we're the emotions, we think we're the crazy thoughts, and then we try to categorize it and we try to get away from what we think is not a good thought, and we try to stick with what we think is a good thought. And the ego gets out of control because it thinks it is in control. So we practice undoing that. And part of it is beginning to accept all of those things that your ego is convinced that you shouldn't have or you shouldn't be. The things that are innately rising through you as you start to notice them and allow them to be what they are. You allow yourself to be who you've always been. And maybe there are those moments where you let yourself 100% be honest about who you are. You let yourself be seen, even though that sounds terrifying. And the more we practice that openness where we're not pushing anything away, that divide between who we should be and who we are gets smaller and less distinct, more hazy. And eventually it disappears, and that's when we say, oh, I'm just awake. And then where are you? You're always just here. So that becomes the practice, is simply beginning to accept all the bits and pieces of yourself that you have been in the habit of turning away. And maybe the little tool for that is to remind yourself that as those things continue to arise, is it's not just you, your mind dealing with it, it's Buddha. It's your Buddha nature, it's your true nature, it's your self, capital S, your soul, whatever words you put to that. But whatever is arising, it never takes you away from that wholeness, that completeness. It can't. It is part of that wholeness and completeness. So Buddha is experiencing this day, this moment, this life, this breath. You're always in that state of complete, that state of awake. You just have to remember it. So embrace the self that you are. And close with the sound of Om, deep breath. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week until I see you again. If you're staying for meditation, we'll start at 11. So you're free to stay on or scoot off and come back. Otherwise, I will see you when I see you.
Thanks, Veronica.
You're welcome.